Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Alan Reed, an endocrinologist specializing in male vitality, and I know exactly why the term low T causes so much anxiety. It's in every magazine, every late-night commercial, and in every conversation about aging. The cultural message is clear. After 40, your testosterone levels fall off a cliff, turning you into a slow, weak, anxious version of yourself. This narrative has created a multi-billion-dollar industry built on fear, marketing quick fixes like ineffective supplements and pushing many men towards premature or unnecessary hormone replacement. This cultural myth creates immense psychological stress, causing men to misattribute every symptom from a bad night's sleep to a poor mood to a hormonal crash. My goal today is to dismantle that fear, ease that anxiety, and replace the myth with the actual unvarnished science, the real numbers, the actual rate of decline, and the 4 proven lifestyle levers that genuinely influence your body's T production. This is based on large-scale epidemiological studies, not marketing hype. The scientific baseline. What is normal? To even discuss testosterone decline, we must first establish the scientific baseline and discard the widely exaggerated fear of a hormonal cliff. The reality is far more subtle and gradual. The gradual slope, not the cliff. The idea that every man after 40 suffers a steep, catastrophic drop in testosterone is a massive simplification. Yes, testosterone levels decline, but the drop is far more gradual and highly individualized than you were led to believe. Large-scale longitudinal studies, notably the Massachusetts Male Aging Study and the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, NHANES, provide the most reliable data. They consistently show that the average total testosterone, total T, declines about 1 to 2% per year starting around age 40. This is a subtle slope, not a cliff. Age 20 to 30, the average total T peaks usually between 650 and 950 milligrams per deciliter. Age 40 to 50, the average is typically around 500 to 700 milligrams per deciliter. Age 60 to 70, the average often sits between 350 and 550 milligrams per deciliter. A total T level below 300 milligrams per deciliter is the clinical cutoff typically used by endocrinologists to diagnose hypogonadism, low T, and consider treatment. This means the vast majority of men in their 40s and 50s are operating well above the threshold of clinical deficiency. Total T versus free T. The most important distinction is between total testosterone, total T, and free T. Total T is the total amount of testosterone in your bloodstream. Free T is the small unbound portion, usually 2 to 3% of the total, that is biologically active and available to bind to cellular receptors. As men age, a protein called sex hormone binding globulin, SHBG, naturally increases. SHBG acts like a hormonal sponge, binding to T and making it inactive. Therefore, while your total T might still look adequate, if your SHBG is high, your free T, the measure that truly dictates how you feel, can be low. Many men with normal total T still experience symptoms because their free T is low, a condition called functional hypogonadism. Always insist on having both total T and free T measured. The myth of the low T epidemic and self-diagnosis. One of the greatest drivers of anxiety is the overlap between the symptoms of clinical low T and the symptoms of modern life. Symptoms of low T versus symptoms of modern life. The common symptoms of low T, low libido, fatigue, mood changes, difficulty concentrating, are also the classic symptoms of sleep deprivation, chronic stress, high cortisol, depression, and high blood sugar. Studies have repeatedly shown that men who report low T symptoms frequently have total T levels well within the normal range. For example, a man who gets 5 hours of sleep, consumes a high-sugar diet, and works 60 hours a week will exhibit every classic low T symptom. Yet his testosterone issue is secondary to his lifestyle, not primary to his age. Fixing the lifestyle is the true cure. The supplement scam. The market is flooded with T boosters based on exotic herbs and proprietary blends. The scientific evidence for the vast majority of these, including high-dose DHEA, Tribulus terrestris, and fenugreek, is either weak, inconsistent, or non-existent in healthy men. Zinc and magnesium, these minerals have solid data, but only for correcting a pre-existing deficiency. They don't boost T beyond a normal ceiling. Ashwagandha, strong data shows it reduces the stress hormone, cortisol, which indirectly benefits T, but it is not a direct T booster. These supplements rarely deliver the 50% or 100% promised by marketing, and they distract men from the simple, hard work of lifestyle change that actually moves the needle. Lever 1. The sleep hormone connection. The T factory hours. If you want to know how to move your T number higher naturally, you must optimize your sleep. Testosterone production is a nocturnal event. The 8-hour mandate. The pituitary gland sends signals to the testes to produce the day's supply of T, predominantly during your deepest sleep cycles, which usually occur during the latter half of the night. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, demonstrated the profound acute impact of sleep restriction, limiting healthy young men to just 5 hours of sleep per night for 1 week resulted in a 10 to 15% drop in total testosterone, a decrease equivalent to 10 to 15 years of aging. Actionable sleep hygiene. The dark and cold rule. Your bedroom must be a cave. Dark, quiet, and cool. Ideally 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Melatonin production, which regulates the sleep-wake cycle, is instantly suppressed by light. The digital sundown. Turn off all screens, phones, tablets at least 60 minutes before bed. The blue light suppresses melatonin and keeps your sympathetic nervous system active, preventing the necessary drop in cortisol needed for T production. Consistency. Go to bed and wake up at the same time even on weekends. This stabilizes your circadian rhythm, which is the master clock for hormone release.
Lever 2. The insulin sensitivity factor, the aromatase effect. The single greatest driver of age-related T decline is not chronological age, but the accumulation of visceral fat and the resulting insulin resistance. Visceral fat and estrogen conversion. Fat tissue, especially visceral fat, the hard fat around your organs, contains an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase actively converts testosterone into estrogen. The more visceral fat you carry, the more T you lose to conversion, leading to lower T and often higher E2 estradiol levels, a condition called estrogen dominance that causes its own set of issues: fatigue, moodiness. Studies show a strong inverse correlation. For every single point increase in body mass index, BMI, total T levels decrease significantly. This means addressing body composition is non-negotiable. Actionable strategies. Resistance training priority. Resistance exercise, lifting weights, is the most potent intervention. It improves insulin sensitivity and builds muscle tissue, which acts as an insulin sponge. Aim for 3 to 4 sessions per week, focusing on compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, and presses that recruit large muscle groups. Carbohydrate timing. Limit simple carbohydrates, especially in the evening. Instead, consume the majority of your carbs post-workout to maximize insulin sensitivity and muscle glycogen replenishment, minimizing fat storage. Visceral fat targeting. Practices like intermittent fasting, IF, have been shown to be exceptionally effective at mobilizing visceral fat, which directly reduces the aromatase enzyme load. Lever 3, the stress cortisol seesaw. As noted earlier, cortisol is the direct antagonist to testosterone. Chronic stress keeps your cortisol chronically elevated, and because the body uses the same precursor molecule, pregnenolone, to make both T and cortisol, high demand for cortisol effectively starves the T production line. This is known as the pregnenolone steal, the T-cortisol trade-off. In the constant, low-grade stress state of modern life, the body prioritizes survival, cortisol, over reproduction and repair, testosterone. A study in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine showed that subjects exposed to prolonged psychological stress saw a significant drop in their testosterone to cortisol ratio, indicating a state of catabolism, breakdown, over anabolism, building. Actionable stress reduction, vagal nerve stimulation. Actively engaging the vagus nerve, the rest and digest pathway, reduces cortisol. Techniques include slow diaphragmatic breathing, 4-count inhale, 6-count exhale, and brief cold exposure, a 30-second cold blast at the end of a shower, destimulation ritual. Implement a mandatory 30-minute period each evening of low stimulation activity, reading a book, light stretching, or listening to quiet music. This forces the sympathetic nervous system to power down. Lever 4, the micronutrient foundation. While supplements can't create T out of thin air, 4 essential micronutrients act as crucial cofactors in the synthesis pathway. Deficiencies in these areas are common and act as significant bottlenecks. Zinc. This mineral is directly required by the testes for T synthesis. A 2016 review showed that zinc supplementation raised T levels significantly in men who were deficient or had low baseline T. Action. High-quality sources include oysters, red meat, and pumpkin seeds. Magnesium. Required for over 300 enzyme reactions, magnesium helps keep T unbound from SHBG, effectively raising free T levels. Action. Found in dark leafy greens and nuts. Supplement with magnesium glycinate in the evening for better sleep and T support. Vitamin D, the steroid hormone. Vitamin D is technically a prohormone that binds to T receptors and is strongly correlated with T levels. A 2011 clinical trial found that men who supplemented with vitamin D saw a significant increase in total and free testosterone after a year. Action. Get sunlight, but most men need to supplement, aiming for blood levels above 50 nanograms per milliliter. Boron. This trace mineral is consistently shown in small trials to reduce SHBG and increase the half-life of free T. Action. Small amounts found in raisins, almonds, and dried apricots. The T protocol commitment. Gentlemen, the biggest threat to your vitality is not a slow, inevitable decline, but misinformation and the pursuit of a quick fix. Your total T level is the report card of your lifestyle. The science is overwhelming. You have 4 powerful levers: sleep, body composition, stress, and micronutrients that far outweigh the effects of chronological age. Instead of worrying about a mythical crash, focus on the variables you can control. Your commitment should be simple. Commit to one change from lever 1, sleep. Implement the 60-minute digital sundown every night for 30 days. If you are experiencing severe or persistent symptoms, I strongly urge you to talk to your physician or an endocrinologist. Get a proper blood panel measuring total T, free T, and SHBG. Seek information, not anxiety.